Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming on this really cold day. And today we'll talk about some of the recent development of the RMB business and the prospects ahead. And I think this is a very interesting topic. And then there's a lot of things going on almost every month. And then either regarding the policy or the market, and then the products and everything. So hopefully I can give some good information for you to help you better understand this market. And I think we have a very diverse pool of audience today. So regarding the presentation material, I will give a little bit more of the generalization. But overall, if you have any questions, and then please feel free to ask. So let's quickly take a look at the a little bit slow. This is a typical afternoon. Let me take a look. Okay. All right, here we go. Now, I think some of you might already familiar with the overall development of the offshore RMB markets, but to just I think it's worthwhile for us to just give a very quick review of how the RMB developed in the past 6 or something years, actually 8 years. Now, some of you might have been in Hong Kong for a long time, but I'm not sure whether you can remember what happened in 2003 in Hong Kong. Anybody remember any significant things that happened during that period? Sure. Yes, exactly. And anything else? What's the economy doing? How was the economy doing? I think it's very bad, right? So if you look at the property market, if I remember correctly, 2/3 of the property value was gone. If you compare with the 2003, compare the price then with the price in the 1997 peak price. So at that point of time, the economy is really, really bad. And so what makes things even worse is the SARS outbreak in the first half of the year. So there's this very difficult situation. So at that point of time, what the central government was trying to do is trying to get some policy to help the Hong Kong economy to go back to the right track. So if you remember, during the second half of the year, there was something called CEPA. It's a closer economic partnership arrangements between Hong Kong and China. And soon afterwards, there's a new policy that allowed the mainland, residents to visit Hong Kong not by themselves, do not have to go with the travel agencies, and that comes with the first issue they need to tackle is that they bring a lot of RMBs, and at that point of time, the only place they can go to get their RMBs is to go to the small exchange shops, the mom and pop shops, those small shops to get their RMB. At the point of time, the banks in Hong Kong cannot operate RMB business. So that was the first big push for them to go bring this RMB business. So we got involved in some of the discussions, and in December 2003, Bank of China Hong Kong was appointed as the designated clearing bank of Hong Kong. And after 2 months of preparation, in February 2004, personal RMB business was first introduced in Hong Kong. That was the first time the banks in Hong Kong can offer RMB business to the banks. Now, from 2004 to 2007, there's not much going on in terms of policy-wise. But in January 2007, we actually see that the first offshore RMB bonds were issued by China National Development Bank. And since then, the scope of issue has expanded significantly. We'll have more on that later on. Now, what really makes a real milestone was that in July 2009, RMB cross-border trade settlement was launched with limited scope in 5 designated cities. At that point of time, only 4 cities in Guangdong and Shanghai was allowed. And outside of China, there's only Hong Kong, Macau, and Asian countries were included in that scheme. Now, we're in the stage 4, which we call it we already have the establishment of the offshore RMB center in Hong Kong. And you can see many corporates and banks, when they have RMB business needs and when they have funding needs, they turn to Hong Kong, and then they have all this, bonds and interbank lending or these kind of products right now in Hong Kong. So right now we're at this stage. So this chart is just another way of looking at it, from the retail banking in 2004, bond financing to 2007, cross-border trade settlement in 2009, and offshore center pretty much what we are now in. Now, some of the policy development since the past 6 months, this is not most recent, but I think it's really very important for us to review that, because some of the recent developments is based on all these. So I'm sure everybody of you knows that in August last year, the Vice Premier Li Keqiang announced several important measures to support the Hong Kong RMB business development. Among them is increased investment channel for overseas RMB funds. Geographically, the RMB cross-border trade settlement was expanded to cover the whole mainland. And actually, there's some new development on this as well, because in August last year, after Vice Premier Li Keqiang's announcement, geographically it's already expanded to the whole nation, and outside of China, it's pretty much every country. But there's still a list of the exporters that can engage in the. When I say exporters, it's from the mainland perspective. For the exporter, there's still a list of the pilot list that you can only if you're in part of the list that you can engage in the cross-border trade settlement as an exporter. But this list is already eliminated. Basically, every exporter in China they can apply to actually they can engage in this cross-border trade settlement as an exporter using RMB now. Now, another thing is that they can support FDI to the mainland of China through the RMB. We'll have some more details later on, and also increase the amount of RMB bond issuance by the mainland institutions, allow mainland corporations to issue RMB bonds in Hong Kong. And recently, we see like Bao Steel just issued the dim sum bonds in Hong Kong. Now, before that, we know only the financial institutions from Hong Kong from the mainland can issue the dim sum bonds. The mainland corporations was not allowed, but after the August last year, they are also included in the scheme. And also increase the quota for RMB bond issuance in Hong Kong by mainland institutions. Now, the quota is not announced by any mainland regulators, but I think they have some sort of internal control to control the overall limits. Also, the Chinese government will issue RMB bonds in Hong Kong regularly and increase the amount of issuance steadily. Now, this is very important, not just because they can offer some what they call the risk-free, Chinese bonds, but also they can help build up they can. I would say that a better yield curve for the offshore RMB business, because before we have all these Chinese government bonds, we have corporates, but in terms of the tenor, it's most centers on like 2 years or 3 years, but they tend to issue more and more 5 years and 10 years, which will be very helpful to the capital markets. And also they launched the RQP scheme with an initial quota of 20 billion, and this is less than what the market was expecting, but I think they will be increased in the future. Now, in terms of the FDI policies, this is very warm welcome by the market. And before October 2011, we as a market participants also help the clients to do some FDI business. But at that point of time, whenever the client asks us, hey, how do you conduct all this, and how do we get the approval? And our answer is always saying, hey, on a case-by-case basis. But which scares especially some of the clients from the outside of the greater China region. But after that, the Ministry of Commerce and the PBOC, they each issue a FDI policies on this, and then they have different, of course, they have different roles. For the Ministry of Commerce, they in charge of the approval of the projects. For PBOC, they regulate the account opening and fund transfer, things like that. I think the new policy will help the FDI business, quite a lot, and it is estimated. I think it's estimated by the Ministry of Commerce that in this year, FDI funds from Hong Kong will be around 100 billion. I think they are in the front end of all these business because they got all the approvals and all the applications in there. So I think their projections could be better. I mean, they're in a better place to do the projection than I am. So in terms of the RQP scheme, I think everybody knows that the initial quota will be 20 billion. And if granted a quota, security funds and fund houses should invest at least 80% of the portfolio of RQP funds to mainland bond markets, which means the rest 20% will be normally will be invested in the Asia market or something like that. Now it is about nine fund houses and 12 security funds that get a quota from the mainland regulators already. And I think the introduction of RQP scheme will enhance the investment return of offshore RMB funds. Market is expecting that the RQP quota to be increased, and also market is expecting in the second wave of the quota get approved. There might be more. There will be a higher percentage being allowed to invest in the Asia market. So that's about the RQP.